To pray, there's no angels where I go, only pieces that are broken, scattered dreams across the floor. I'm home.
Alrighty. Now, hello everybody, this is Kirusho here. Now, the reason why I sound different or irritated is because I finally got some of the material needed to make or at least put up, the soundproof panels in my room. I only got the 12 by 12 acoustic foam. Mounting it onto a board with hot glue and then trying to put it on the wall. Thing is, they won't stay up. For the last 2 hours, I've been trying to make sure that they will stay, but they don't. In fact, they just keep falling. I was testing my microphone to make sure it wouldn't bug out, and the one next to me just fell, which pisses me off. Anyways, I'm going to work more on that tomorrow, because I do actually need to buy some more material, and then buy something to make sure those stay up. Now, let's at least begin. Whenever we last left off, Izuku Midoriya, he has just killed Shazam, along with believing that he murdered Batman and Jason Todd. Talia al Ghul is a little impressed with this boy. He murdered a high-ranking hero, yes. Then there's Batman. There was never a body. They always need a body as proof, so they can dispose of it and make sure that person is dead completely. If he's a pile of dust, they send it somewhere else. Scatter it into the wind to make sure that person's body can never be revived. Since that's basically the only thing you can really do to make sure they stay dead. Now, along with that, you have the other Midoriya. The ultraviolet power that thinks it is him. Dead and then brought back. It knows that it has something to do with Izuku, but it truly does believe it's him. These words that Midoriya said in his recordings, they feel like they mean something. They seem like they do. Now, with that being said, let us begin. We will pick up with Izuku Midoriya, as he is training today, and it would be announced on the news that Batman is dead, along with the other people in the mansion not surviving. In fact, Alfred Pennyworth was described as dead on scene whenever police did arrive. Now, Talia al Ghul, hearing that, along with Ra's al Ghul, would be even more impressed, deciding that it is time to give the boy back his ring. They're not really sure as to what would happen if they give back the love ring. That might give him access to that emotion. Love is a weak and frail one, so they would want to keep it away from him. Along with rage. Lazarus rage mixed with an object that feeds on it. Yikes. And willpower and fear. Talia al Ghul deciding that he should use his willpower. The boy was known for it. Picking up and handing the ring over to Midoriya later that day. Midoriya, confused as he would look down at the small green objects, and then slide it onto his finger, looking down at it and watching as nothing happens. Him asking Miss Talia if there is something that's supposed to happen. The ring feels more like a perfect fit. Is that it? Talia al Ghul not understanding this. The ring should be working. Are these things broken? No, they can't be. not knowing that with the Green Lantern power destroyed on Oa, the rings don't have a fuel source. Even Midoriya's personal lantern doesn't have power, and he's not even too sure as to where that is, let alone what it is right now. As she would end up going back to and giving Midoriya the Fear Ring. The power Midoriya holds is weird though. Whenever he does put it on, he does at least hear a scream, before he would drop down to his knees and at least begin to pant heavily, before looking behind him for the source of that sound. Nothing. There was nothing. What was it? As he'd be told by Miss Talia that ring is quite powerful. Now, you have proven yourself by giving Ra's al Ghul what he wanted. A dead imposter and a dead superhero. Now you'll prove yourself in another way. As you just go on saying that you must find and track down the person who is posing as. Now, Midoriya would just be informed that his next target is going to be Supergirl, the Kryptonian. Midoriya kind of confused, asking exactly who is she? To which Ra's al Ghul would just say, she is the cousin of Superman, the Man of Steel. Killing her will be a challenge, yes, but that is why there are such priorities. Under Wayne Manor, there is a place called the Batcave. And deeper down, you do have the place further. I believe somewhere inside that infernal cave lies the secret of Batman. Midoriya kind of confused, asking exactly what does he mean? As Rachel will just go on saying that within the Batcave, Batman has hidden protocols. He has made many in place. They are to make sure that he can never die. The man will die, yes, but the spirit of Batman, everything Batman embodies, hard-coded into a machine. You will go to that machine and use it. Only then will you know every one of Batman's secrets, every one of his protocols, and everything he doesn't want to use. If that man really wanted to, he could throw his wealth around, and possibly even murder Superman. I do remember whenever the two did fight once. That wasn't a very long fight. Even then, it did drag out longer than you would expect a regular man to draw it out for. Now, as he would just instruct Talia to tell him what to do, you will be assisting him, along with another female member of the League. Now, this female member, she is one of, well, Ra's al Ghul's top ninjas. She is part of an elite squadron. And in fact, she's going to be going with Midoriya because she seems to be the only other person who might be able to handle this experiment. She has been mentally trained and mentally, stretched. She's gone through various torture methods, and if it means taking on Batman's abilities, she will do so, in order to serve Ra's al Ghul. Now, with her coming along, they would leave. The person in the League at least staring at Midoriya a lot of the time. Midoriya unsure why she's doing this. But Midoriya himself does at least stare down at this ring. and at least think about something. As he learns, he can create constructs. The constructs being short-lived. Talia al Ghul telling him to knock that off, and to quite simply stop it. Until they do arrive back in Gotham. And it is at least 4 to 5 o'clock in the morning. Now, whenever Talia does at least drive into and find the entrance to the Batcave, she would go through it underwater, all of them using rebreathers and going underneath, and servicing below the cave. Getting out of the icy water, as you can call it, and making their way throughout the cave. Midoriya looking around and seeing quite a bit. A lot of this place did, at least, try to collapse. Well, some of it is barely even holding, meaning that this entire process will be delicate. Midoriya walking over and looking at the back computer, and at least thinking, as there is a security terminal, or at least passwords in place, asking for Batman's identification. A password Batman would use. Talia al Ghul pushing him out of the way and just typing in Bruce Wayne. That not being very effective. Thomas and Martha Wayne. Ineffective. Thomas Wayne. Martha Wayne. Alfred Pennyworth. Selina Kyle. Beginning to just list off more and more things that she knows about him. People close to him. Jason Todd. Unaffected password. As she just goes through an entire list she has. While Midoriya and this other member are looking throughout the cave. Them looking through and finding the giant penny, the dinosaur statue, and other things. After about roughly an hour or two of searching, they would have found a strange device. It seems to be a giant metal wall with binary code. Nothing but ones and zeros. Talia al Ghul at least walking over and inspecting it. She can at least make out a few pieces of this code, as it just stretches as high as she can upwards. This code must be it. So, where does it even lead? As they begin to investigate more, eventually finding a circular disc hidden away. It looks as big as a merry-go-round, along with Heelys and everything to hold on to. This other member of the League walking over and getting onto it. As they at least do kneel down, putting their hands in the bars and thinking. The instructions aren't very clear on what this device does. But Miss Talia has instructed her to do this. Talia al Ghul flipping the switch, and the other member being electrocuted. Before the electricity does stop and Talia turns off the device, expecting it to have worked. The young girl being largely unaffected, only feeling pain. Talia flipping the switch again and expecting different results. It being the same as they keep going over and over again. Whenever she does flip the switch for the 5th time, the girl just continues to scream out in pain, along with the fact that her body does go limp directly afterwards. And it doesn't happen. Nothing happens. Whenever she does turn off the switch, the girl just stays lying on the ground, basically in a puddle of her own drool. Talia just thinking that that was largely ineffective. Tossing the girl off the machine and telling Midoriya to hop on. She's guessing it may only work with a male host. It's a typical Batman move. Possibly only one of his Robins could use it. Midoriya not too sure what she's talking about. As he does get into place. Whenever he does get into place, he does at least hear his ring. You know, everything is a very busy world, or a very strange one. Those words being confusing. Midoriya then hearing a couple more. And what exactly would you do when given the opportunity to kill? I don't know. I'm not sure I can hold myself back. Midoriya confuses to begin to look around. Whenever he does turn around, he just sees Miss Talia as she flips the switch once more. Midoriya is being electrocuted and feeling this. This pain and these emotions. Holding in his scream. As she would stop the machine, asking exactly if anything has changed. Midoriya largely unaffected. As Talia just begins to flip the switch again. And again. Eventually to the point where Midoriya does have a chance of going brain dead. If he goes brain dead, then he is going to die. And from what her father has said, he is far too valuable. Talia al Ghul telling him to stop. And that this mission was a waste. The machine can't even be used. It must be hard-coded. Midoriya feeling like he fails. He must serve the League at all costs, even if it means his own death. As Talia al Ghul would just start walking away. And Midoriya would just think for a second. From his training, there's always a method to some madness. There's a method to Deathstroke. There's a method to Ra's al Ghul. There is a method to even the Joker. He has heard about him. He has even seen a picture of him before. Seen videos of how he fights, the way he operates. One thing about the Joker is that he's never too afraid to do anything random, even if it means endangering his own life. He would gladly drink poison if it meant that he can cause suffering to others, since he would be the only one holding the antidote. Now, Midoriya would just do one thing. As Talia al Ghul would just turn around and instruct him to follow her. They must get out of this place before it does actually collapse. Midoriya is just doing one thing, staring at the switch with an intensity he's never felt before. He knows what has to be done. If it's Batman, then that means it can only be Batman. No one else inside of your mind. Flipping the switch and immediately turning around, running straight for the machine. Talia al Ghul telling him to stop. As Midoriya puts his hands onto it, and he falls to his knees and he begins to get coarse with electricity and power. As he begins to grit his teeth, throwing his head backwards and feeling everything. Talia running over and at least going to turn off the switch, as Midoriya just looks at her and screams, "No!" Talia just looking at him, and thinking. There must be something he has planned. As after a minute or so, with this constant stream of electricity flowing through Midoriya, he would begin to feel it. He feels Batman. He feels everything he's meant to be. As the machine would finally stop, a final whirl of electricity throwing Midoriya away from it, and sending him flying. As he smashes into the ground, and the machine itself is smoking, along with actually becoming a bit more unstable. The voltage coming off of it you can just hear. It sounds like a bug zapper. As he does stand back up, beginning to scan his surroundings and look around. Looking at his hand and seeing the ring. Now, Talia al Ghul is confused. A bit curious though. asking exactly what has he done. This is completely insane. You could have died, and Ra's al Ghul would not like to bring you back once more. Midori is telling her that she needs to stop. He's got exactly what they want. He has everything Batman's been through. As he means to just walk over towards the back computer. Her just walks to his door, changes his outfit. He at least does add one thing to it, a utility belt and a bat symbol directly in his undershirt. As he just begins to type away on the computer, typing in the password. Batman lives. Now, he would then just press enter, and they would have access to everything on this high-tech computer. Hitting enter and opening a secret file. In fact, there's multiple ones. As he clicks on one, it says that this is the file for Superman. This is the file for Wonder Woman, and then going through a lot of the members. Although some of the files are marked down as deceased, saying that these are the contingency plans. However, they're made to disarm and take down. Not lethal. Batman was weak. As he does actually do one thing. He clicks on the file with the red X on it. And he does stare at the file name. Martian Manhunter. Known weaknesses. Fire. And possibly telepathic attacks. Best known idea. Chemical reaction agent that will make him burn up in Earth's atmosphere, contained of H2O. Chemical agent will not be lethal. It will provide him at least sparks and means to become flammable. Will be able to be taken down, or at least put out, by being in his atmosphere without oxygen, space, and or inside water. Now, with that, Midori would just think of a way to try and shift this idea, along with this feeling pulled to something, pulled to a memory. As he does at least stop, and he goes back to his memory in outer space. You must fight. You must make sure Umbrax cannot survive. Make sure that you can beat him. You are the only one who knows how. As he watches Martian Manhunter get sent flying into the sun. And then he does feel something grab at his throat. Before Talia al Ghul is at least ripping his left arm off of his own throat. Midoriya, confused, he would just look at her, going to react. Talia al Ghul saying that he has provided useful information. Now, download the files and give them over to me. Then we will go back to the League and get things ready for our preparations. Take out the world's heroes and at least get ready for what is to come. Now, Midoriya would just say, yes, Miss Talia. And she does instruct him to do this. Midoriya tried to think about what just happened. Clearly there's something there. His memories are locked behind a wall that he can't crack. So, what is it exactly? As he does try to think, his left arm was up to his throat. That's his non-dominant hand. So, clearly if something doesn't work for me or fit with me, why would I use my other hand? Along with fighting Umbrax. Why does that name send shivers down my spine? Why does it make me feel like I'm on pins and needles? Midori beginning to hyperventilate a little bit. As they get the files, Midori would just take the USB, putting on his rebreather and jumping down into the water of the Batcave. As they do arrive outside and hop onto the boat. Midoriya is thinking. This will provide some information and some research. Allow me trying to figure out this Umbrax fellow. Whoever he was is clearly someone who hurt me. Is he the one that killed me? Now, with that being said, I do believe I can leave this part off here. And I do hope you guys enjoyed. Now, sadly there will not be another video tonight. This one was tough enough to try and record already. I've been having asthma attacks, and my asthmas have been acting up the entire recording. Hopefully I was able to cut those parts out. Along with that, I do need to go watch and research more about Tokyo Ghoul. Along with my microphone is beginning to mess up again. So hopefully I can get that figured out tomorrow, and post more videos tomorrow. And deal with my asthma situation. Anyway guys, I do hope you enjoyed.